It's good to see you made it. Because we have gathered here in the name of Jesus Christ. Glory be to God, He's alive, He lives. It's a hot one this week, right? At least it's hot here where I am. 100 today, and it's supposed to be 100 over the next few days. I've been working, painting. Got a little painting project outside there on the outer windows, cleaning them up, painting it, and it looks good, right? Looks good, a little cleaner, a little brighter. Go from turd brown to holy white. I don't know, I'm tired. I don't ever feel well, never feel good. Especially since I had that heart attack and stuff. I'm always struggling for energy, struggling for, and you know what's weird is I never felt sick or I never felt bad up until that time. But then after the heart attack stuff, and since then, I've tried to live better, eat better, drink better, be better. I don't never feel good. My feet hurt so bad. And then when we're doing the painting project, climbing up and down the ladders, makes it worse. It's not getting better. I'm not getting better. I'm so tired. Don't become friends with the world. Don't become friends with the world, because in becoming a friend of the world, we make ourselves an enemy to God. I hate this world. I hate this world, and I seek and try constantly to find a reason not to hate this world, hate this life, hate this, all about it. And I can't find a reason to love it. I can't find a reason to like it. I hate it. And I think one of the reasons I hate it is because God has put that in me. And it's not that, I hate the people of this world. Just cannot find joy from the possessions of this world or anything that's being produced by this world. There's friends that don't even really exist. And I hate it when people try to convince you that they're your friend because they said something nice to you. That's not a friend. A friend is there for you when you need them. A friend is there intermingling, they're messing around with your emotions because those things matter to them. They're in there messing around with your feelings because those things matter to them. They're in there messing around with your health because your health matters to them. Now that's a friend. Your life matters to them. Being in your presence matters to them. Saying good words isn't what makes them your friend. It's their time, their energy, their desire to be with you. That's what makes them your friend. They desire you. And, yes, I have family, and I love my family. And I would hope that my family would love me, but friends do not have. And it's not that I don't desire to have a friend. Nobody wants to be friends. That's kind of the world we live in right now, is nobody has any desire at all to be anybody's friend on any level. Because with being a friend comes responsibility, accountability. And nobody wants to be responsible. Nobody wants to be accountable, especially this day and age, in this world we live in. Nobody wants to share their goods, share their things. It's one thing, I'm not saying the Amish people got things all figured out. I'm sure they got lots of problems. Because we all have problems. Nobody is good except for Jesus. And, we can pretend and we can act like we are good, and we can pretend and act like I can achieve some sort of perfection. Yes, I want to live like Christ, but my hope is when Christ appears, I will become like him, but Christ is not going to appear until after death. We must put death to the flesh. We must put death to ourselves. And then the perfect will appear. And then Christ will appear. We can get to a certain level. We can almost get there here in this world, in this life. But we'll never be perfect until we leave the flesh. And that's what our hope is. And that's why it's things hoped for. That's faith, having a hope in something that is yet to come. Because if it wasn't faith, it would be a reality. And the reality is as hard as I want to be perfect, and when I say perfect, the perfect example of Christ living in this world, as much as I would love and desire to be that, I cannot be it. I cannot achieve it fully and completely here in this world, here in this life. And I think one of the things, or some of the things that hold us back from achieving it, is a lack of support, a lack of love, lack of friendships, lack of encouragement. And again, we go back to the Amish, and I see, how awesome is it when they say, hey, my young son is turning into a man, and he's found him a bride, and we need to build him a home. And 50, 60, 100 people show up to build him a home. That's cool. When it comes time to harvest a field, 10, 15, 20 people show up to help harvest the crop, the field, and that's cool. When I need to maintenance this building, there's nobody there to help. Nobody even cares if it gets maintenance or doesn't get maintenance, because in all of it, everybody seeks ownership of something. And if I'm not the owner of it, well, my hands are clean of stewardship of it. See, I don't want to be held to some sort of accountability. I don't want to be responsible for anything. And so I wash my hands of all of it. And I won't be a friend to nobody. And those are the people who follow me. Those are the people who come and search spiritual guidance from me. And the people who have no love within them, that's what it comes down to. Is don't care because you don't love. And, of course you're not gonna dish out anything or for something or somebody that you have no ownership over. Because that's this world. It seeks possessions. And if it doesn't own the possession, it's no treasure of mine, and there's no treasure in it. And so I'm not responsible for it, and I won't be held accountable for it, and I want nothing to do with it. It's called selfish ambition. The only time you have ambition or a desire to do something good is when you're getting something in return. And so when, we see the love of God is likened unto agape love, which, is a different kind of love than any other known love in existence. It is a charitable love. We'll see Paul speaks a lot of or uses the word charity a lot. And charity is the giving out, the giving and expecting nothing in return. The motive isn't in the return, in the giving and being charitable, being loving, being kind. Jesus says the same thing. If we love only those who love us, what good are we? What have we gained? Everybody does that. Even the sinners do that. But in striving to be perfect, in striving to be like Christ, we must be like God, who demonstrates his perfect love in blessing the ungrateful, the grateful, the unjust, the just, the unrighteous, and the righteous, all alike. God gives life to all and expects nothing in return. He demonstrates his perfect love by allowing free will, by giving free will. He demonstrates his perfect love by loving you enough to share his life with you and expecting nothing. You have the ability and the option to absolutely walk away from God, walk away from knowledge of God, the wisdom of God, the love of God, the belief in God. He literally demands nothing. And you say, well, what are all the commandments and all the stuff about, and all the law and the rules and the ordinances and all these things? What are they all about? And what they're about is bringing order to a sense of chaos. And how God brings order to a sense of chaos. And how does God demonstrate his order, the order that comes from the wisdom and the knowledge that created all things? What brings order to our lives, order to our world, the universe, all these things? Where does the order come from? Because it's not in a place of chaos. And it comes from love. Love. And so Jesus says this is how we're going to put an end to chaos. We're going to separate darkness from light through the power of love. And that's why all the commands and everything in it, and all the law and the rules and the Torah and the words of the prophet, all together are love one another. Love one another as you desire to be loved. And do I desire to be loved? Indeed, I do desire that. I desire to be loved. I desire a friend. Many times throughout my life have said I desire a wife, a companion, a full-time partner and friend in life. And yet those things have been held from me. They stand far off from me. And it's not because I don't desire it. I don't know. I guess in being a steward over God's word and the teachings and instructions that come through the Bible, you can't have two masters. You cannot love both God and people or a person. You know, if I wanted to love a wife, if I had a wife, I would be obligated to love her in the very same way Christ loves the church, giving myself to her freely and as an act of charity. My body, my life, my everything would belong to her, and she would have rights over that. And you know, my body, my time, my energy would have to be dedicated to her, and should be. And it's unfair, it's not right to ask her to take a second seat or sit in the back seat while I and God go out and do the God stuff and God things, because being a preacher and a teacher of the gospel takes up all of our time. It takes up a lot of energy. We should be dedicated to it. It should be important to us. And it would be unfair to her to say, sit in the back seat while I tend to the needs of another woman or another person. I should be fully dedicated to her. And her the same, being fully dedicated to me and loving me as though in the same way the church loves Christ. And that's the part that I wrestle with constantly is, what happened to the church? I mean, the building means nothing. Everybody wants ownership over the building. They want ownership over the brick. And that goes back to the Tower of Babel. Everybody wanted to build a temple so great, so high. It reached the stairway of heaven. It reached the door or the gates of heaven. But it was all about the people's selfish ambition, the people's pride. It was all about my brick and the brick I made. because it represented me. Many people think of the same thing or the same way of a church. I only loved the church because I bought the door. I love the church because my name is written in the paint. I bought the paint. I did this, I did that. And then they find their identity in those things, never recognizing that the building itself is dead if there's no people inside the building. And the only reason nobody comes to church is, well, what excuse are you using today? The only reason you're not here in the church is, again, what excuse are you using today? Everybody's got an excuse. Everybody's got a reason to, I don't know, not care. And boy, I could use help. I could use help here financially, spiritually, emotionally, physically. I mean, you have no idea how big and huge this building is until you start working on it. And then all of it, it is a place that has been dedicated to the worship of God, dedicated to the love of Jesus Christ. That should be a motivation enough, shouldn't it? I love this place. I love being here. And I don't mind doing the work. I wish that I wasn't sick. And maybe I need to go to the doctor. Maybe I'm struggling with high blood sugar. I don't even know. Maybe I got problems that... And it's hard because... when the people you talk with and deal with week after week, month after month, day after day, don't care about you, have no desire to be your friend, even on the smallest of basics of level. It's hard to believe that there's somebody there inside of the hospital that's going to care about you. It's hard to believe that there are doctors and nurses that care about anything outside of their own paycheck, and there's been lots of instances and things that I see going on in the world and wonder, do they even have the capability to care about their patients, their illnesses, their sicknesses, their problems? Do they even have the capability to care? They have the capability to do their job because they get paid. And that's what everybody seeks, and that's what everybody strives for, and that's what life in this world is all about. Money. Money. Jesus says, get rid of the money. Get rid of your desire to love money and the things money can buy, because it is fleeting. It is passing away all the time. And money is like water. It's liquid. It's here today and gone tomorrow. I mean, God, it's just so utterly crippling and disgusting how gas is right now, where we are over $4 a gallon. And how can we are doing nothing but hurting one another? I think as a gas station, you would say to the gas company, and of course, who owns the gas station other than the gas company? But what if the people who worked at the gas station said, we're not going to sell the gas. If you're going to charge this kind of money, we just won't sell it. And they say, okay, we'll fire you and find somebody else to sell it, right? But what if as a collective we said, we won't sell the gas. I can't do unto my neighbors something that I know is going to hurt them and destroy them and to break them down. I can't engage in this act of evil. I mean, I don't know. Gas prices might just all of a sudden plummet and fall because nobody's buying it and nobody's selling it. It's amazing how you can buy a 12-pack of Bud Light right now for $2 a 12-pack. Can't even give it away. Can't sell it at all because everybody knows Bud Light makes you gay. Yeah. God forbid. I mean, when are we gonna place our treasure in heaven? Do you have any desire at all to put your treasures in heaven? And you've come across people who truly are storing their treasures in heaven because, well, money just has no value to them. Selfish ambition, pats on the back, good words, those things just don't have any value in their lives. What has value is your emotions. What has value is your feelings. What has value is your person, your time, your energy, being a part of your life. That is where they find value. They find value in being your friend. They find value in caring about your health. Love is dying. I think love is dying. And we're living in a society that has everything. Everything at the tips of their fingers. We have more than any other generation the world has ever produced. And yet, what we have is worthless. It's disgusting. We can have or be given or own the whole world and all the treasures of the world, yet in gaining it we are losing our soul. we're losing our salvation. We'll do anything for a few moments of pleasure. We won't do anything to gain a friend. Words mean nothing to me. Words have no value at all in my life anymore. Kind words, good words. You know, I was putting out, sending out text messages there on Messenger or whatever it is, Facebook. Sending out prayers every morning, right? And maybe you were a beneficiary of some of those people in my friends list and receiving those morning prayers through the text messages. And they cut me off. I don't know, said I did something to violate their policy, so I'm no longer able to use or send out messages on Facebook or private messages in Facebook or Messenger, and which shows and proves whatever it is we say in private is no longer private. There's no such thing as a private conversation between two individuals. Somebody's listening, somebody's watching, and if you say something we don't agree with, well, we'll shut you down and turn you off and blah, blah, blah. It's disgusting. It's because there's power in prayer. There's power in the gospel. There's power in those who believe. And so why do they see what we share as dangerous? Because there's power in it. So they do everything and anything they can to shut us down and to keep us silent. I don't know. Love is dying, and for the faithful and the hopeful, the children of the living God who see the acts of love and the acts of creating friendships and relationships as being something worthy to be valued, that's dangerous. That's dangerous to this world and the rulers of this world. There's no money to be made. There's no profitability in it. I mean, it's utterly disgusting how we're just going to tax ourselves to death. I never seen inflation grow in such a rapid pace as it has since the demonic evil party of those who believe in communism. There's no good in communism. Even though it sounds good in the beginning, we're all going to share our own goods, we're all going to share health care, we're going to share everything, and yet in that, they don't share anything. It's about controlling over it, not sharing it. It's about having control over who gets it and who doesn't get it. It has nothing to do with it. It's absent, it's void of God, it's absent and void of love. Because That's what the devil's wanted since the very beginning of time, since the beginning of his existence. To be God, not be like God, but to be God. To have control over every word that's spoken. To have control over who you can have friends or make friends with. To have control over what you can like or cannot like. To have control over your heart's desire. Control over everything. And then we think, well, if we were going to be like God, like Christ, like our Father who lives in heaven, if we wanted to be likened to Him, not to be Him, but to be likened unto Him, we must know first who Him is and what He is, and how God doesn't seek control. And you say, how does God not seek control? Because the love of God is an act of charity. It's a free gift given away. That God doesn't seek control because He is in control. And with His power and desire to be in control, He allows you to have power over what's being controlled. That's the life of Jesus Christ. I come in the likeness of God. I have the power and authority of God. Right? Didn't Jesus say, I have been given command over 10 legions of angels? Yet I give my life willingly. I have the power and the authority over sickness. But I give my life willingly. Comes into our world and says, I have the power and the authority over the demons and the devil. And I give my life willingly. I have the power and the authority over the wind and the waves. He had the power and the authority over nature itself. He walked on water, said to the winds and the waves in the midst of a storm, be calm, be still. And all of it obeyed him. And yet I give my life willingly. I have the power and the authority to feed everyone. Feed everyone with nothing. A few loaves of bread and a couple of fish. The power and authority to fill the bellies of everyone. And yet I give my life willingly. That's an act of charity. And I didn't give my life willingly to a people whom God had entrusted love with. No, I give my life willingly to a people who hated God, who despised love. Why? If you had the power and authority to do all those things, why would you do that? So you would know the depths of God's love. So you would know the depths of God's love.